and Dr. Chow, and his guys over at the site like Taylor Bicht joining the show. Hey, Taylor, how are you?
Hey, Ariel, how you doing?
I'm good. It took me a little bit of time to remember what your X handle was, but I think I remembered. It was like Fly on the Wall.
Flyer on the Wall 1. Yes, you got it. Yes.
Well, flyer on the let me find it. Flyer on the wall. I think I spelled flyer wrong. Anyway, let's talk some injuries. So we've got some crazy injuries on the slate and some good ones too, because like, for example, my Ravens, Lamar Jackson, the quarterback, going to be returning. So is Roquan Smith. Then on the Bears side, there are a ton of injuries. How would you approach this Ravens-Bears game?
That's perfect, Ariel. That's the game I was going to start with. So Bears,
Perfect.
you have to look at them. Jalen Johnson, number 1 corner. He's on IR. He's already out. Now you have Tyreek Stevenson and Kyler Gordon both out. So if Lamar Jackson was going to come back to a perfect game, this is it, right? This is all 3 starting corners for the Bears out. So this is a big game on our prop calculator for Lamar. Big over. So Zay Flowers pops up too. He's one of the top wide receivers that popped up on our calculator just because there's, like when we talked about, remember our formula, it's not just the health of the player, it's the health of everything around them, the wide receiver core, the quarterbacks they're playing. So big, huge Ravens offense game, it looks like, Ariel.
So Zay Flowers, you said?
Yes. Yeah, Zay Flowers, and I would do Lamar. That's a good little stack I would do if you're doing DFS. It might be a little expensive. There's a couple other players we'll talk about, but that's a huge advantage that you couldn't possibly not take advantage of.
What other games are you what's another game that has some injuries that we should be keeping an eye on?
All right, we'll start with everybody likes their overs, right? So let's go to that the Denver game I want to speak a little bit about. So Dallas Cowboys. So it's really easy to get an injury on when you're on the field, Ariel, right? But we got Trevon Diggs getting concussion while he's at home. So he's got kids at home. I know that. So, I mean, there's different ways you can get that. But getting concussion at home on a weekend, it was Saturday, right before the game, he's going to not play again this week. So that opens the door up for Bo Nix. Bo Nix has had, strong games last couple games, maybe a couple less than 200, hasn't hit his prop. But this game, he has an advantage. So if you're going to do like some kind of stack or just focus on a couple of props, I would look at Bo Nix and I would look at Cortland Sutton. Cortland Sutton without the wide, Trevon Diggs there. Big opportunity for Sutton to take advantage of that pass game. The Cowboys don't play defense, right? So, I mean, they're getting a couple players back. Overshawn's big. But from a secondary standpoint, you got a huge game for the Denver Broncos.
The San Francisco 49ers are finally an underdog at +2.5 against the Texans. That's kind of making sense with these injuries. Yet every time I count out the Niners, they find a way to win the game. How much longer are the 49ers going to be able to win football games with all their injuries?
I wish I could tell you just from our formula stuff, you should be taking against the Niners every single week, right? But they're finding it away. Like every single time, like the Atlanta game, it really popped up in Atlanta. But for us, it's like, oh, we have the injury advantage, but they scheme really well. They're coached really well. They kind of just look past these injuries. And any other team, it wouldn't, right? You have no Nick Bosa. You have no Fred Warner. You have like top cornerbacks, injured. It's like, and Mustafa's not playing 100%. Like it's smoke and mirrors right now, Ariel. But I mean, I was going to tell you just by looking at this game, there's a lot of overs for Houston because there's so many injuries on this Niners defense. The running back room should take advantage. Woody Marks and Nick Chubb, but it's like kind of a toss because then you have Houston who has no wide receivers right now, Ariel. Nico Collins likely to miss with a concussion. Tank Dell hasn't played all year. And now Christian Kirk is, playing through his hamstring, may miss again. So it's kind of like we have a really good advantage, but does Houston have the offense to take advantage? It might be another way that SF might figure a way out of it again.
Atlanta, the quarterback situation, Michael Penix, we're not really sure if it's going to be him or Kirk Cousins. What are you guys expecting at sixscore.com?
So if you have a bone bruise, you saw with Brock Bowers, you're not supposed to play through that. Like you saw Lamar Jackson a couple years ago with his ankle with the bone bruise. It's more of just sitting it out and letting it recover. So I'm seeing all signs that he's playing. So that would mean more. I don't think he's going to be effective. That's actually good from a prop perspective if he's going to play for us because we could take advantage of that. He's already not mobile. Remember, he's had multiple surgeries on his knees, so he barely moves in the pocket. But this is something that he's not going to play well with either if he does play through like he's saying. I wouldn't like London this week. I wouldn't like Penix. They should lean towards Bijan Robinson, so not injury related as much. But I mean, like you said, I would rather play Cousins. I think from a betting perspective, I would rather see Cousins out there at this current moment. Maybe you have better props with Kyle Pitts and stuff with Cousins out there, but right now, Ariel, it looks like Penix is trying to play. For us, we should take advantage and do the unders on a lot of the stuff related to Atlanta.
Giants Eagles, big rivalry. These two just saw each other a couple of weeks ago. There have been a lot of rumblings that Saquon Barkley doesn't look like his normal self in Philly at running back. How much do you guys say or speak about Saquon's health?
So we do a big like report in the offseason to get ready for the season. And that was one of our big like unders this year. Saquon had so much mileage last year, Ariel. He had 400 plus touches. They got it. It was worth it, right? You won a Super Bowl out of it. But this year we took the under on his prop, and we were under on a lot of games this year. And this is also leading to injuries now. You have Landon Dickerson is playing through an injury. Cam Jurgens is not going to play. That's their starting center. So there's a lot of stuff pointing to, again, Barkley having a bad game. It's not necessarily his health. Remember, we talked about it's the health around stuff. Like his 6 score is a high 92, 93, but it's about the overall game they're playing. I mean, Jalen Hurts just hit his props last week for the first time in multiple weeks, right? There's a lot of offense. That offense is like not explosive, right? This is like the Chiefs a couple years ago where they're like barely beating people, right? So, and then I'm just going to add AJ Brown. Now AJ Brown how is that going to affect? Do they lean more towards Barkley, but with this offensive line being hammered, maybe offensive line, it's not going to be a good game. Is Devontae Smith going to go off? He went off against, Minnesota, right? So that's a weird one, Ariel, but I would be worried about Barkley again this week.
Who would you turn to in Philly with AJ Brown out in the receiving core?
So I was going to talk about, I wanted to do a couple tight end unders, but remember, this is National Tight End Week. I don't think anybody should be doing any tight end unders this week, right? So Dallas Goedert is one of the big players that does well during these weeks. So I like him. His injury, he'll play through. Devontae Smith should have a big matchup again. A lot of the Eagles stuff is popping up on there. The Giants have no Paulson Adebo, right? They're one of their top corners. So there should be some advantage for the Eagles in the pass game. So that's a weird game, though. That's going to be a divisional matchup. Might be a rock fight. It might be an explosive, crazy game. You never know.
Mark's a big Niners guy. He said it is tight end week. How about George Kittle?
George Kittle, I'm all for George Kittle. Remember, he's the leader of tight end U with Travis Kelce and Greg Olsen. They're the ones that started it. So if anybody's going to have a big tight end week, it's going to be him. He's passionate about this subject. You also have to look at situations. Does the head coach even give a crap, right? I feel like some coaches are like, ready for looking at the game. They're trying to win the game. They don't care about all this BS tight end week. Like the little goober coaches, like, the Eagles coach and Shanahan, they love their guys. They want to make sure they get their, their ball this game. So Kittle is a guy that also usually does well in these this tight end week too. So yes, I would go over for that. Remember, he had the hamstring injury last week. It might have been a week too early. He was asked to block a lot with their offensive line issues, so he didn't really get much in the pass game. This is another week better, plus the tight end week. I would be all over Kittle this week.
The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have a ton of injuries, including no Chris Godwin, no Mike Evans. How should we approach the Bucs?
So what we've been doing is it's the offensive line, which has really been big. Wide receivers have been trickling late, but it's hard to take under on Baker. He's a warrior, right? You could put 5 random people out there as a wide receiver and he would go over his prop, right? So and even Igbuka's playing through his injuries and he's getting his props too, just because of the situation. Once Evans went out in that last game, who's he going to throw to, right? And they were chasing a bit, so Igbuka pops up. For me, it's all about going the under on the run game. Even before when Bucky Irving was healthy, he wasn't getting his props. He was rushing the ball 20 times and still not getting his prop. I would still go under on Rashee White. I don't see he's not the better running back, more of a pass catching back, but this offensive line isn't helpful for this run game. So I'm scared to go unders on the pass game, even though our prop calculator says go under Baker, go under this, but I would definitely go under Rashad White.
Monday Night Football, it's Commanders, Chiefs. We already know that the Commanders are going to be without their quarterback, Jaden Daniels. How does that change things for the Commanders players?
One thing that's big is it looks like McLaurin and Debo Smith are going to try to play through their injuries, at least McLaurin. So Mariota, it looks like it's very hard for a player to jump into a game and be good. You saw he had the pick 6 right when he got in the game, but now he's a veteran. He has a full week of looking at reports and getting a game plan, so he should be a lot better. And if he has a healthy wide receiver core, I would see it's fine. I'm just worried that the Chiefs defense is really good and they took kind of a corner. The big thing, I guess, is Rashee Rice, right? So at 6 score, we've always not had we didn't worry about his injury, and it was more about the criminal charges in the back end and stuff. But once he's healthy, he's fine. It's completely changed their offense. He had 2 touchdowns last week, not as much usage, right? A couple 5 or 6 catches, 37 yards, but That's going to completely change everything. Now you have Worthy as the 2, as the field stretcher. The running game can open up. So I think this is more like Chiefs should be able to attack. Washington has a lot of injuries on defense. This seems like a big overs game for Rice. Maybe you got to, the running back situation's weird, right? When it's a 1A, 1B, it's hard from a prop. Do you pick Pacheco? Do you pick Hunt? But it seems like a big Chiefs taking a corner, big, huge offense for them.
What other games have I potentially left out that you wanted to touch on? Because I know you always have this long list of props going into Sunday that is because of injury benefits.
Yeah, I have a couple here. I'll talk about Chase Brown is a big one. He's been a lot of people I saw bet is over in the start of the year because it's just from a usage standpoint. He was going to be the guy, right? It was like 900 yards. He hasn't done good this year. It's because their offensive line has been banged up. They get their right guard completely back now, so it's only one position in the offensive line, so it's a lot healthier. And they're playing, I believe it's the Jets, right? The Bengals Jets game. Yeah, Jets have a lot of issues on their linebackers, secondary issues. Not as much concerning Chase Brown, but I see a huge Chase Brown game for the Bengals. I also a lot of Flacco is popping up too. This seems like a game that the Bengals. It seems like they could save their season. As Doc is more on the Joe Burrow side, we may be pessimistic on him maybe returning, but just from their standpoint, they look like they have the division. If they let the Browns go and they have Steelers and Ravens, it's a battle. So I think the Bengals are going to treat this game as a really win or die. So I think a lot of Flacco, a lot of Chase Brown in this game. I want to talk maybe a little bit about the Colts. I love the Colts this year. A lot of their props are just like we've been hitting from our, health. They're very healthy. Jonathan Taylor has been the best running back in the league, and a lot of his props have been hitting. And Tyler Warren. Tyler Warren has a big matchup against Tennessee with their linebacker issues. His prop is starting to get a little high, right? It's slowly increasing because people are starting to realize he's one of the main guys in that offense. But that's one I like too. And then just a couple of unders. Tetra McMillan from what's it called, from Panthers, right? Yeah, he's it's just a new situation. Andy Dalton, I love Andy Dalton, but he's got a really hard situation to play this week against the Bills secondary that's really improved health wise. So yeah, those are a couple I had on my list. But yeah, like you said, Six Score has multiple insights and props, and you have that prop calculator, and we have that prop little start sit tool that we showed you last time. That's really helpful.
Yeah, super helpful. And I love the field views, seeing where all the injuries are on both sides of the ball. People always like to look, because they mostly bet offensive player props. People will always look at the offensive injuries, like, oh, Baker's going to be without his 2 receivers. People don't look enough about on the defensive side of the ball as to how to take advantage. So who are a few defenses, just to list off? I know you've given them out while you've been analyzing these props. Give us a few defenses for overs that we could be attacking offensively.
One we mentioned earlier that I couldn't say enough is the Bears defense. You can't do anything without their top 3 corners. So Flowers, Bateman, even Andrews, that should be a big thing. You mentioned the Niners already. That's a big one. Houston, just a lot of their stuff pops up. It's just a matter of picking the right thing because there's no wide receivers now. So maybe focus more on the running backs because you don't know really who the passing game. But I mean, there's going to be little sneaky things with Jalen Noel and Higgins. So watch that. Eagles, they're going to be completely fine. Yeah, those are the 2 big ones, Ariel. I gotta look at my list here, but Washington's one too. Washington's a big one we talked about already too. They have a lot of defense issues on the D line and a little bit on the secondary, so a lot of the Chiefs stuff pops this week too.
So take advantage of those banged up defenses. You brought up my Ravens, and everyone on the chat knows that I'm a big Ravens fan. People saying that it could be the time to buy low on them. How much does SixScore.com, Dr. Chow agree that the Ravens are actually healthy, or are there still a lot of question marks with the injuries that they've all had, including Roquan Smith and Lamar Jackson?
No, you're totally right. You're on up and up because a lot of your stuff wasn't season ending, right? A lot of your stuff was like maybe 2, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. It was just a wait out period. And now you're seeing the division kind of mesh up a little bit and you see there's still a way there. Normally, I know with your record, there's no possible way you would even talk about trying to make it. But this is the Ravens. You're supposed to be there and the health is completely turning. Ronnie Stanley, if you can ever figure out his ankle, you'll be completely fine, right? But he'll always play through. He's tough. But like you said, Roquan back. The secondary was a mess to start the year, right? With Humphreys, Wiggins, Awuzie as well. So a lot of the cornerbacks are back. Kyle Hamilton's back. You got Aloy Gilman in trade. So, I mean, it's sky's the limit. Yeah, like you said, the health it's a matter of winning the games, but your health has really increased the last couple of weeks, yes.
That's good to hear. It's a mic drop for me. Taylor Bicht, tell everybody where they can find you and what they can find over at SixScore.com.
You can find me on Twitter, Flyer on the Wall, and then all of our stuff is sixscore.com. We also have a guarantee this week, Ariel. We've done undefeated on our guaranteed picks. So go to sixscore.com and get a sick picks guaranteed week. Sign up, okay?